All right, why don't we go ahead? It's 9 o'clock, so we can go ahead and start. Thanks everybody for coming. I don't anticipate it being a very long meeting, but who knows? We could do a roll call. We'll kind of do it like normal. First, before we do that, I want to make sure we have somebody doing notes or taking minutes.
Madam Chair, Kelsey Santangelo's here, and I'm ready.
Okay, thanks, Kelsey. All right, we'll do the roll call. I'm Annette Lutz from Toledo, and we'll see what other reps are here. Frank Regassa from Cincinnati.
Present.
Okay. What about Jim Debus from Dayton?
Good morning. I'm here.
Good morning, Jim. Tom Neal, Cleveland.
I'm here.
Morning, Tom. What about John Jack of Giorgio, Columbus?
I'm here.
Morning, John.
Good morning.
And Larry Danfulis from Akron Canton.
Here. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Any alternates here? What about is Christopher Douglas here?
Good morning.
Good morning, Christopher.
Good morning. Thank you.
What about Dean Hamilton? Or Mark Wood?
Yeah, I'm here.
Good morning, Mark.
Morning.
Keith Trammell? Or Dave Regassa? Okay. What Bureau or OOD staff do we have with us today?
Oh, hang on. This is Lisa Litzinger. I wanted to let you know I'm here. I couldn't get unmuted.
Okay, Lisa. Thank you.
This is Lynn Hustwick. I'm here.
Lynn?
Jen Mead here.
Okay, I heard Jen Mead and Lynn.
Sally.
Morning, Sally.
Good morning. Amy's here.
Hi, Amy.
Christy's here.
Okay, good morning, Christy.
And good morning. Greg is here.
Hey, Greg. And who else was there? I think there was another one.
Kelsey Burrier.
Oh, Kelsey. Morning. Okay, any other OOD, BSVI staff? Okay, we'll see what operators we have. Anyone from Toledo?
Dwayne Burkholder.
Morning, Dwayne.
Good morning.
Any other Toledo? Hey, what about Cleveland?
Steve McMillan.
Morning, Steve. Any other Cleveland? Hey, Akron Canton? Anybody from Akron Canton? Okay, what about Zanesville?
Scott Allen.
Morning, Scott. And we did get Lisa Litzinger. Anybody else from Zanesville? Hey, what about Columbus?
Julie.
John McNamara.
Yeah, I heard Julie and John.
And Ston Absent.
I heard Ston. Good morning. Then there was somebody else.
Becky.
Oh, Becky. Good morning. Anybody else from Columbus? Okay, what about Dayton? Is that somebody trying to? I don't think so. Okay, Dayton? Or Cincinnati? Anybody from Cincinnati?
Tanya Koo.
Oh, good morning, Tanya.
Morning.
Anybody else? Any other operators from Cincinnati? Okay.
Am I muted now? This is Tanya.
No, you're not.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we're here.
All right. Is there anybody who thinks they got missed that I didn't acknowledge? Operators, and are there any other guests here? Okay. At this time, I'm going to ask everybody who's not going to be speaking to mute themselves. We are getting some background noise where someone might be at work or in transit or in a restaurant or something. Someone's having a good time, it sounds like.
Hey, Tanya, it's Tanya. I think you're still not muted.
What's that?
You're still not muted.
I'm
Star
trying
six.
to mute it.
Yeah,
Nope,
star
it's not
6
working.
will mute.
It's not doing it. I'm gonna probably have to disconnect
No,
and
we'll
reconnect.
we'll have Tom mute everybody, and then people who are speaking can unmute. So, Tom, will you
So what?
take care of
And
that? Okay, everyone should be muted now. Those of you who will need to speak can unmute yourselves. Thank you, Tom. Okay, so then we can get into the minutes. We did not do anything with the minutes from January, so we actually have minutes from both January and March
Madam
to
Chair,
deal with. Yes, Tom.
I move to accept the January minutes.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second, Madam Chair.
Okay.
But I do have one or two questions that we may need to they're minor though, but we should probably still correct them.
Okay.
If they need to be corrected.
Well, go ahead.
I was reading through the January minutes, and when it came to I guess it was the laundry service at the state parks, and I think it said that the committee thought the committee thought it was a good idea or something like that, but right below that is the motion to waive it. I think they just forgot to put the word not in there, that we did not think it was a good idea at the time. Unless I'm remembering that incorrectly, but I know we did make a motion to waive it, and that's listed right below that. So.
Okay. And then you had another.
Yeah, and it was minor. Like I said, both of them are minor, but the other one had to do with the motion that was made concerning inventory, and I think there might have just been some keys hit after the motion was made. There was just some letters there, and I'm like, I don't know what, or somebody thought something was said that wasn't said, and I think it was just the motion, and there shouldn't be any weird letters or anything after the actual motion.
Okay, it sounds like they just need cleaned up a little bit.
Yeah, like I said, it wasn't major. The one sentence, though, about the laundry, I didn't want it to change the intent of what we were doing, because the motion and the sentence conflicted.
I can see where that'd be confusing. Any other discussion on the January minutes? Okay. Committee reps, if you're unmuted, all in favor of the minutes, say aye.
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 Madam Chair?
Yes, John.
Can Mark vote on that one since I wasn't at the meeting?
He can't vote unless you step aside,
okay.
but you can abstain.
Okay, I'll abstain then.
Okay. Anyone opposed? And then John abstains. Okay. Then the March minutes.
I'll make a motion to the minutes.
Go ahead.
Chair, this is Kelsey.
Yes, Kelsey.
I only heard Frank and Jim vote yes. Was there anybody else who actually voted yes?
Tom.
Okay, so that's 3.
I voted yes, Larry.
Larry, I thought I heard Larry too. I think everybody got in there.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. All right, the March minutes.
So, Madam Chair, oh, go ahead, Frank. It's fine.
Go ahead.
No, you're fine, John.
Go ahead,
I was gonna
John.
say, I'll make a motion to that, those meetings get it passed as written.
Okay. A second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Frank.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Tom.
I have a requested correction to those minutes. It's in regards to the post office that's being temped in the Cleveland area. It says that the committee recommended that it be temped for a year. And that was the initial thought, but during the discussion, I was made aware that the sales figures I had were incorrect, and I asked that that be tabled until this meeting. And I'd like the minutes to be corrected to reflect that.
Okay. John, are you accepting of the minutes being corrected
Yeah, sure.
to reflect that? And Frank?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So the motion is to accept the minutes as corrected with Tom's recommendation there for the correction. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, anyone opposed or abstain? Okay. The recommendations or responses. Is there any comment, question about the responses? Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tom.
No, it's okay. That's all right. Never mind.
Okay. All right. Then we will move on to public comment. I do have one request for public comment from Steve McMillan. So Steve, if you're unmuted, and go ahead, and the floor is yours. And we can't hear you, Steve. So if you may need to unmute yourself.
Which is *6.
Yeah, I'd just like to expound on that point that Julie Russell made last meeting about if it ever comes up for discussion about the program fixing those rest stops that had that water problem. I was thinking that, that sounds like a pretty good idea. Make sure we keep good jobs for operators. That's pretty much it. I just think that was a very good idea.
Okay. Thank you, Steve. Do we have any other public comment?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Frank.
I'm going to make one, and I just want to, and I'm not, I was originally going to name names, but if I do that, I'm going to forget somebody, so I don't want to do that. But I just want to say on behalf of the committee, we have a lot of operators out there. Some are committee members, some are not. We have a lot of operators out there temping a lot of stuff for us across the state. So on behalf of the committee, I just want to send a thank you out to all of them who are doing some extra work and helping us to try and keep stuff and running as we work, hopefully, towards eventually getting back to normal.
Thank you, Frank. That's a very good point. I know a lot of people have taken on a lot of things. Anybody else like to make a public comment? Okay. Let's get in then to the meat of the agenda. The first thing we have on here is statewide and training. Just a quick update for the statewide. Most of you should know that we are going to do a virtual statewide on the 21st. The agenda will be coming out soon. I think it's going to be a pretty good one. Hopefully everyone will be able to attend. And just a reminder that you do get 2 points in a selection specifically for statewide. So we want to make sure everybody comes. Anyone have anything to add? Okay. Then training. I don't know if we had anything we wanted to talk about specifically with training. But I know we discussed it a little bit at the last meeting, kind of where we were and kind of what's going on. And then I know Jim had some things he wanted to mention about training. So, Jim, you want to kind of bring up what you wanted to talk about?
Sure, yeah, I'm here. So when I went through the Michigan program, I was previously trained in South Carolina. This is going back to 2005. When I did the Michigan program, they have a reciprocity program, and some states have it. Some states don't have like a streamlined kind of process, but I did my training up there in like a month. It was a week of cafeteria, a week of vending, and then I already had the ServSafe certification, so that brought my other part of the training down significantly from, I think it was supposed to be another month to maybe 8 days or something like that of actual classroom time. So that was my experience of dealing with another state anyways, in terms of, you know, going there, having been previously licensed and having that experience. I didn't know if anybody wanted to piggyback off that in terms of if anybody else has had any other experiences similar or not similar.
Well, I think we talked about this at the last meeting, and I know Jim was very interested in the committee maybe reconsidering. He wanted to share his experiences and talk about when we have people who are licensed in other states, if there was any means to speed up the process. And so that's why we're kind of talking about it again. Did anyone have anything else to put in or add for that? Okay. Well, Jim, thanks for sharing your experience. I hoping we can get training really rolling here at some point, and you know, we have jobs for people and can figure out things for folks. Anyone have any other training?
Madam Chair?
Yes, John.
Is this where you want us to discuss the upward mobility, or is that or that separate issue?
Yes, yeah, we could do.
Okay, last time we had discussed how we were going to break down the upward mobility stuff, and we wanted to, we decided to table it so that someone can write a motion for it. I did write a motion. If that's something you want me to table.
No, you can share it if you want to make that motion. You can share it, and
Okay.
we can see if we get a second. And
Okay, bear with me because I'm reading off a computer with voice. So, okay, so of 6 upward mobility credits, 2 can be 2 will be obtained by participating in statewide get-togethers. Of the remaining 4, 1 is able to be used annually for participation in OVRC meetings, and the remaining 3 must be obtained through other services relevant to our business.
okay, did everyone get that?
Sorry, and that's kind of hard to read.
No, that's okay.
Sorry, Madam Chair, would you mind just having him repeat that? I didn't quite catch all of it.
Yeah, sorry, sure. Give me a second. And I can send it to you if you want as well, so.
Oh, yeah, great. Thank you.
Give me a second. Okay. Of the 6 upward mobility credits, 2 can be obtained by participating in the statewide get-together. Next sentence, of the remaining 4, 1 is able to be used annually for participation in OVRC meetings, and the remaining 3 must be obtained through other sources relevant to our business.
And this stems from our discussion at the last meeting. There was a discussion brought up about people getting upper mobility credit from participating in statewide, and we kind of, OVRC meetings. And the committee kind of talked about, well, do we want people to be able to attend 4 state, I keep saying statewide, good gravy, 4 OVRC meetings and get all their points that way, or should we spread it out? So John has made the motion that one of those points could be from OVRC attendance. And then,
Madam Chair, sorry.
yes.
I was just going to say that when we had that discussion last month, some of us felt that the OVRC, it's great that people are attending the OVRC, but it doesn't really provide them with any, provide operators with any material that's really going to help them grow their businesses. And that's why I wrote it like that.
Yep. So does anyone want to second the motion? Okay.
I'll second it just to have a discussion.
Okay. Thank you, Larry. Okay. Any more discussion then on the motion?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Larry.
this is just to limit one upward mobility for an OVRC meeting, correct? This would kind of be like a rule.
It'd probably end up a policy. We could eventually change the rules for it, but right now it would be only up to 1. If the motion were to pass, you could get 1 of your upper mobility points by obtaining an OVRC meeting. Anybody else? Larry, you had something else? Or?
Oh, no, that was it.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Yeah, Jim, I got a question.
Yes, Jeff.
Last year's statewide count as a upper mobility credit because we weren't doing the system the way we are now with statewide counting separate?
I don't think so. I think it has to be a statewide credit now. Christy or someone? Yes, John.
Shouldn't it have counted because we did have a statewide last year even though it was virtual? So they're still should have given us a point.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I got the certificate for it. That's why I'm wondering how it would count.
It still counts. There's no reason why it shouldn't.
Well, I think the question is, does it count as the statewide or as upward mobility? And I think it has to be statewide. It would be my thoughts, but it's a very good question. Anyone else want to chime in? No? Well, I think that's something we'll have to talk about a little bit more, but my initial
I got credited, Annette, I got credited 2 points for last year's statewide after I filed my grievance because of the rule change. It is not an upward mobility credit anymore.
That's what
as of the middle of February.
Yeah, thanks, John. That's what I'm thinking too. It has to be statewide because the rules specifically say statewide. So you can get those credits for them, but they don't count as an upward mobility for the other section.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Christy.
It's Christy, yeah. Statewide is statewide. And the other thing that we wound up doing is in 2020, we're giving everyone the 2 points if they attended 2 out of those 3 days, because now it says the entirety. But at the time we said you got points if it was 2 out of 3. And if you attended the entirety last October, then you got, even though you got 1 certificate and 1 point, we're turning that into 2 points because it was the entirety. Plus we have statewide again on the 21st. My question 2020 will drop off. Will probably drop off after. That's my question, is when things are, like with this proposal that John D. has with statewide, when does that begin? Does it begin starting now? Is it on a calendar year, a federal fiscal year, or a rolling 12 months? That, I think, needs to be included in a motion.
Okay. What's the rule say?
24 months in the rules?
I think it goes back 24 months. So I think his motion simply is, of the 4 points, you can get one of them from OVRC meeting attendance. So whatever the time period is in the rule, which I believe is 24 months, only 1 point can be from OVRC attendance. Is that?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Sally.
I was just going to say, historically in selections, it was always the rolling 12 or 24 months. It's always done it.
Yeah, from the deadline date of the application, or from the deadline date of the announcement, whatever the deadline date is.
Yeah.
Any other discussion on the motion?
Madam Chair,
Yes. Who's that? Is that?
are non-committee members allowed to speak right now?
Oh, yes, Scott. Go ahead.
Okay. I appreciate John's motion. However, I don't agree with it in the fact that I think it would be a good thing to incentivize individuals to attend OVRC meetings, because I find it to be very beneficial in learning the intricacies of the business. So that's just my input.
Hey.
I completely agree with that statement.
Anybody else? Okay, then we'll do the vote for John's motion. John?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Tom?
No.
Jim?
Yes.
And Frank?
I'll say no.
Okay. And I say yes too. I agree with it too. So, okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes, John.
I see both sides, but I really don't think people should have to be incentivized to know what's going on with their business. So, no, I definitely see Scott's point totally, but that's still my opinion.
Yep, I understand. Okay, anything else on training or statewide? Or anything, upper mobilities, anything to do with any of that? Okay. Budget update. Any of our budget folks have, Amy, thanks for sending out the report. Anybody have any updates with the budget? Or questions, comments?
Madam Chair, I have not held a meeting since our last committee meeting.
Okay. Okay, so we might not have anything other than just the reports. Hopefully everybody, anyone have any questions on them? Okay. University update. Then we can go into the university updates, and we have quite a bit of stuff to talk about with universities. A couple, I think some of these are going to feed into each other. But just a general university update. Sally, usually that's you start with that.
Yeah, and I'll let Frank get more into what we've talked about in our work groups if you want to, Frank. But I do have some good news. The University of Akron has put in writing that their intent is for us to take over the beverages this summer going into the fall semester.
Yay! So
that's one we can check off.
Everyone's muted, but there's a big round of applause going on around.
Yeah. So that's exciting. We're excited. And then, Frank, I don't know, did you want to talk about what we've done in the work group?
Yeah, we can do that a little bit. Well, it'll come as no surprise. As Sally said, we found that out yesterday afternoon, actually, during our work group meeting about the University of Akron. But prior to receiving that information, that's where our group was going. We were saying that it was going to be our group's, recommendation to move forward with the University of Akron. We believe it's, somewhere where we can take over the beverages, that it shouldn't be. Our hope and plan is that, we're going to use branded equipment and maybe have to buy some card readers and maybe initial inventory, so it shouldn't be outrageously expensive, and hopefully we will see a return on investment, not the complete return, but start seeing a return on that investment pretty quickly in the fall. And then the other one is we were trying to prioritize some of these things, or at least have a plan going forward. Next year, of course, I believe the program is in the process of, or working towards signing a memorandum of understanding with OU Athens for us to try and take over the other half of campus there, where we do have to buy some snack machines. But I do believe Sally informed us yesterday that Pepsi was awarded the pouring rights again, so that stays the same. So I think that helps facilitate smooth transition there, hopefully. But OU Athens will be more expensive than, for example, the University of Akron. The other one that we were trying to get information on to see where we could try and fit that in was Tri-C up in Cleveland, and Sally did reach out to them and ask them some questions, was checking in with them, and she was trying to find out if they had signed a 1-year or 2-year extension with their current service provider. And she pretty much told us yesterday they answered every question except that one in their response. So that didn't help. And the other 2 universities we were looking at, hopefully in 2024, is our group, the plan is to secure before or by June of 2024, the beverages at Cleveland State and the University of Cincinnati. Both of those schools, the contracts for both, the pouring rights, both are Pepsi, I believe, and the contracts expire in June. The pouring rights expire in June of 2024. So I don't know if the pouring rights agreements will change any or where that goes. The other thing we talked about a little bit with, because the information I was sent about Cleveland State was, I said, well, if we have to buy the beverage machines, the cost was going to be roughly $600,000. And I said, yeah, we probably couldn't spend that kind of money even pre-pandemic. So we have to use branded equipment moving forward with these universities, at least for now, and until we move farther. And that's where we kind of stopped, Annette. The only other one that we talked briefly about was in 2025, the University of Toledo. So that's kind of where we are. We do need to go back and try and figure out where Tri-C fits into this, because they do have to fit into this somewhere. And Sally did give me the numbers yesterday, and I don't remember them. It was quite expensive, but I did ask her if it was a mix of snack and beverages, and immediately, our group was saying, well, hopefully we can reduce some of those expenses if we use all branded equipment some way, somehow at Tri-C. And I don't know if Tri-C has a pouring rights agreement right now or not, but we'll see where that goes. But anyway, we didn't forget about them. We didn't get the correct information from them, and I don't know that was done on purpose. It might have just been an oversight. They probably thought they answered everything. And there's one other one we're looking for information on, and that's Cincinnati State. The only information we could get from them is they have a private company, Enterprise Refreshment Solutions, in there, providing snack and beverage service to them. And Sally did do a public records request earlier, a few weeks ago, tried to get a copy of the contract between them and the school responded and said, we're sorry, we don't have a copy of the contract. We're going to have to reach out to our vendor and see if we can find one. So she's still working with them and trying to give them a chance to respond. And I think she's going to ping them again early next week and see if they ever came up. My bet is they probably don't have a contract, so there is no copy. And that's what some of the consultants and I think, and whether that's true or not, we don't know until they actually produce a document, but we'll see where that goes. And I think that's everything I have. If anybody has any questions, I will try and answer them, or we will all try and get an answer.
My thoughts are just kind of a summary. thinking money-wise. The OU project, we will need to buy snack machines next year. We're hoping if we can, pie in the sky, if we can get a hold of what Akron has done, that should be, eventually card readers or inventory, but no, we can use branded machines. Hopefully if we get Cleveland State and Cincinnati, those would be branded machines and somewhat minimal expense to the program. Tri-C we're not sure about. The only other university I'd throw in just kind of on your radar there, because we've had some initial talks with BGSU in Bowling Green. So since we've already kind of started talking to that, and like I said, I know money's an issue and stuff, but we don't want to forget about that one either. We've started.
It's on the list.
Okay, since we started talking to them a little bit, I don't want them to get forgot.
No, they're not forgot. We did not forget them. We didn't forget Tri-C either. However, I don't know what happened with Tri-C. I know, the pandemic struck in 2020, and that's not an excuse. That happened. Then we pushed it off for, we thought we would be able to push it off for a year and do it the following year. And somewhere along the way in all of that happening, it unfortunately got lost in the shuffle somewhere along the way. And I apologize to Tom for that. That should not have happened, and I'm trying to work and get that fixed. And as soon as we get some information, we're going to see, what the actual cost will be and if we can get them in somewhere, because I believe we had a memorandum of understanding with them, and then the budget situation, we used that to try and buy us some time, but somewhere along the way that still got messed up. And we need to go back and fix it.
We'll fix that.
Madam Chair?
Does Akron have just a second, does Akron have a pouring rights agreement with a particular company? Okay.
Sally,
Larry.
This is John Kennedy.
I'm
Madam
sorry.
Chair.
It sounded like Larry. I'm sorry.
If I may, just out of curiosity, Frank said that BG was on the list. Has Miami been approached? Miami University. Is it on the list, and has it been considered?
It is not on the list, John. I was thinking about that the other week. My concern with it is it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
It is. It's less than OU, Frank. We're in proximity to the bigger locations, i.e. Cincinnati, Dayton. It's really not that bad. And it is the size of OU. So I just didn't know if that was on anybody's radar or not. It's a large university. It's probably 15 to 18,000 undergrad.
It is. And the only reason why I say that, John, is we have out in the city of Hamilton, which is Butler County, which is not all the way.
There is a branch of Miami there as well.
Yeah, we play
in Miami or in Hamilton as well.
Not making an excuse, just trying to tell you why we.
I got you. And I'm only asking. My son is a grad of Miami, and I know when he was over there, and he graduated 13 years ago, they were, quote, doing it themselves. Well, that still doesn't change our priority.
No, it doesn't. So we can, we can look into that and see if,
Look, the long-term goal is that, long-term, we should be at all of them.
Yep.
If there's a vending machine sitting on a state university campus somewhere, we should have our hands in it. That's
I just wanted to put that out there for everybody.
Yeah, no, absolutely, John, and we appreciate that. That's we know.
I hadn't heard it mentioned. So.
Right. Wright State's another good-sized one. That's not.
That's on that list.
Yeah, that we need to look at. So there's ones that are down the road, and ones that's sooner. If I had my way, we'd go into every one of them tomorrow. But that's not going to happen for a myriad of reasons. So we're trying to figure out a good approach to, as they're coming around and you know, taking our budgetary concerns in mind and our operator availabilities and all that in mind, where to go. So some of these we're already at, Cincinnati and Cleveland State, where we do need to take over the beverages there. And we're making, obviously, progress at OU and at Akron. So it's going to be a process, and it's going to take many years. But someday we're all going to sit here and be very happy because we're at every single state university. I really hope that's how it comes out. Every vending machine at state university is going to be ours.
Yes, and Madam Chair, I'm glad that John said that. I was thinking about it the other week, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to go there yet. But it doesn't hurt to do the research and find out what the contracts look like, and you know what the.
That was my point, Frank. Yes, thank you.
Correct.
That was. I didn't know whether the process had been initiated or not. So I appreciate you saying that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to thank the committee too as we continue to work on this. This is the mission isn't completed, but obtaining the beverages at the University of Akron, that's a success for the program and for this committee and for operators, blind vendors, and and hopefully it's going to be a great partnership between BE, the University of Akron, and great opportunity for blind vendor or vendors, depending on what the sales and everything look like as we move forward.
And it's been slow, and not all these universities are coming on board. We still need to discuss some of that. There may be the need to have, hearings and stuff at some point to do our priority. But we have been successful in the committee's goal from many years ago now was, hey, if we can get our foot in the door, it's going to grow. And there has been some success with that. At OU is a prime example of that. They want us at the whole campus, Kent State. And now Akron U. We've had to nudge in some cases we didn't. Youngstown State is a one that we've just gotten. So once we started really focusing on getting these, it has grown, and it's going to continue to do so. We just kind of, some of these that are being very stubborn, the Cincinnati and Cleveland States, most namely at the moment, that don't want to recognize our complete priority there, are we're going to have to nudge those and get there, but we have had success. So where are we with Cincinnati? That's the other question we should ask. The committee did vote here a while back to move forward with them on a hearing, and I know we had a change in legal counsel and all of that. So where are we with Cincinnati?
Sally, do you want to do?
Madam Chair, it's Christy.
Yes, Christy.
So Rick has had conversations with UC and their legal counsel. I think the latest was yesterday. He's got another one scheduled in April. They're making progress. So again, I think that they're understanding that they understand the law, and we've talked about taking over when their pouring rights agreement is up in 2024, like what Frank said. So I think I would like to continue to have the open dialogue, attorney to attorney, on getting them to put that in writing, that we will take over the POP. And then I think that then we need to, I don't know if we can get that in writing, whether or not it makes sense to go to a 3-panel still, if that makes sense.
Any thoughts? My thought is, if we get something like that in writing, I'm happy with Cincinnati at the moment. if it's in writing and it's not just a stall tactic type thing, we get an agreement with them that in 2024 we take over the beverages. I'm happy there, and maybe that panel would have to happen somewhere else. But any other thoughts from anybody else?
Well, the only thing I will say is, and I don't, if that's working at UC, let's see if it works. Let's see where it goes. But we don't want to forget about Cleveland State in this process either. And I don't know what the beverage sales are at UC or what they are at Cleveland State. Off the top of my, and they may be similar. I honestly don't know. I don't have those sales figures, but maybe we can try something along the lines of what we're doing with UC with the OOD Chief Legal Counsel to try and get that process at least initiated with Cleveland State. I don't know why we couldn't, but I think we should at least at some point, unless we want to kind of wait and see what happens with UC and see if we're going to, and if we can get an agreement with them and get something in writing, Here's my fear about waiting, and I don't want to go to a hearing. Let's not have a fight unless we have to.
Right.
My fear is, are they stalling? Are they buying time? Christy said that we're making progress, so that's good. But I don't want us to get to a point where we stop making progress and then we just let it go. We can't afford to do that. We shouldn't do that. But like I said, if we can get something in writing, because my concern is, by 2024, OOD's chief legal counsel could change, UC's chief legal counsel could change, or UC management or our management, and then even if it's, people will go, well, yeah, it's in writing, but that was under, a different administration or something, so we don't want to honor it or something like that. So hopefully we can get something in writing that is, that has to be, that's a commitment from both sides that, we have to do it, I guess is where I'm going with it. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly.
Absolutely.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
No, I agree with what Frank's saying, and again, I don't think it's a stall tactic, but I think I would like to give you guys, like after the next conversation that Legal to Legal has, to give you guys updates on where we're at, and if there is any stall, then I'll bring that to you guys, and we can, again, put the 3-panel back on the table. Okay. But if we can work this out without going to 3-panel, I think that would be a win too. But I understand we need some sort of commitment from them. And I think that, again, Rick has made some progress.
Madam Chair, it's Greg.
Yes, Greg.
So, yeah, so we'll continue, but I think what's moved the needle is Rick, but also that we informed UC that we intend to move forward on this unless something changes. So Rick's been working, he's got another call set up. It's kind of the same process with Akron. We will work towards getting something in writing and a commitment, and if they don't, we're not taking the 3-panel off the table, so to speak. That's kind of what we're using as the carrot or the stick. Mm-hmm. So we'll have an update for the next meeting on kind of where that goes, and see if we can, if they're not going to commit to something in writing about when we can do this, then we will continue to move forward down the path with the hearing.
No, I appreciate that. If we can get it done without the hearing, hey, that's always
absolutely
beneficial to everybody.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. Any specifically with the growth part and expansion at universities that anyone wants to bring up? I know we have a few other university issues, but okay. Tom, I know you had something specific about universities that you asked to talk about, something about food and beverage or...
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess I'd like to know the committee's thoughts and committee/bureau's intentions for how we're going to deal with this new business that's coming on for the program. Specifically, if we have a permanent operator on a university who's only doing snack vending, and then all of a sudden we get the beverage vending, is it the committee/bureau's intention to just attach that vending to the current operator regardless of the sales for it? Or is it an intention to temp it and then look at it and see if it's an attachment, a facility? And this is relevant because of the large opportunities we have, like Cleveland State, University of Cincinnati, and other places where we don't currently have beverages where we soon could. It doesn't really apply to Akron because Akron is under a temp. But this is relevant to a larger discussion than just universities. There is a circumstance of a facility right now that comprises vending and a snack counter. And the vending and snack counter operations don't even make 50% of what they made 5 years ago. And it's not just pandemic related, it's just downsizing and so on. And if our intention would be to just add drinks to a university operator who was already doing snacks, then how is that any different than just adding the vending to the snack counter at this particular location? So I'd like us to consider this and have a little conversation about it before we get into these situations and haven't thought it through and decided how we're going to handle it, because it's important that we have a standard approach and that every case is treated equally and fairly.
Absolutely, Tom. And as you see specifically, and then some of the other ones have been added on, has been on our radar with this for a long time. And we don't have an answer yet, but you're right. We need to, start beginning to come up with what I've had a few good debates with people about this actually. So it is something the committee and the Bureau will have to definitely weigh in on what to do when we get this other business. Because like you said, it doesn't really apply to Akron, which is our first one that's going to come around. Right now, Cleveland State is not assigned, but we don't see that happening very quickly, so it probably will be assigned by the time we get anything. And, of course, University of Cincinnati already is assigned to several operators. So it is going to be a good discussion, and a fairly controversial one, yes.
And also translates, I'm not familiar with as many facilities as I probably should be around the state, but I don't know how many other circumstances like the non-university circumstance I mentioned, because of work from home, teleworking, because of just general downsizing in governmental office buildings. How many cases do we have where facilities just don't support themselves anymore? And it makes good sense. If I'm not suggesting we kick an operator out. The circumstance I was outlining earlier would be if one of those two operators were to leave, and what would we do? Those facilities need to be combined, but there's really no method for us to do that.
There isn't.
One operator in one.
No, there isn't. Right now, what someone would have to do, we'd have to do it as a side attachment and hope that operator, if they wanted it, would be the one who bid, and the selection committee would probably take it into consideration that they were already there. But it's messy. It's not the neatest way to do things. And then if the operator doesn't want it for some reason, I know a situation where we have a counter and a vending where someone doesn't want the vending.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
Now that we've outlined this a little bit and given people a kind of an idea of some of the challenges we face, can we put this on the next meeting's agenda, and maybe after people have had a little bit of time to think this over, we can have a discussion about it?
Yes, that's probably a very good idea.
And can I throw one more thing in there?
Absolutely.
It's been very vocally brought to my attention by several people that the committee's recommendation that we temp anything more than one vending machine being added to a facility, that we put that out as a temp and then we leave it up to the local selection panel to decide who gets it. Obviously, through a bid process, it wouldn't be just an award. It would be handled just like any other attachment. But it's been brought to my attention that my reasons behind that motion to begin with were because of some circumstances in the past where some things didn't quite work out like they should. So my intention was to correct that, but now I'm being told that this is causing harm to some other folks. So I guess as part of this discussion with the combining of facilities, maybe we should revisit this as well and take a look and see, are we really doing the right thing? Is it causing more harm than good?
What are you referring? Are you referring to machines in a building where somebody already is, or a complex where somebody already is, or is that?
Madam Chair, I believe it was an October meeting. The committee made a recommendation and the Bureau accepted it that any additional machines totaling more than 2 would go out as a temp and to establish sales, and then they would be handled just like any other attachment.
Okay.
And I still think it makes good sense, but there's been some pretty persuasive arguments as to why sometimes it causes more trouble than it solves.
Madam Chair,
Yes, John.
during that meeting, it was not that they go out for temp, it was that they would put out for bid as site attachments rather than just given to that same operator who's in that building.
Yeah, that's the one I remember. I'm just wrecking my head trying to think about if there was something I was missing.
Well, Madam Chair, John is correct. That we did. I think the intention was that they would be temp to establish sales and then go out as attachments. So I misspoke
Okay, not
a moment ago, but
necessarily temps, but they would
Right,
not be. Yeah. They would not automatically be given to the operator who was assigned there. They would be put out as a site attachment.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's something I'm all for looking at that again, because I didn't like it back when we did it then, and I'll be honest with you. But that's what the committee voted, so I support how the committee voted. But I thought there was concerns then. So yeah, well, I think if we want to relook at that, I'm all for that.
I think we should. So if you're okay with that, then I guess we'll table those until the next meeting, and everybody kind of give it some thought, and let's talk it through and see if we can't figure out something that makes a little more sense.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
yes, Frank.
I was going to say, just as a follow-up to what Tom was saying, I'll use the University of Cincinnati, for example, the assigned operators we have there. When and if we do get the beverage contract, can we, and based on what the sales are, and that's yet to be determined from the beverages, and we'll probably have to be figured out through, stuff being temped and things like that. But at least my initial thought has been and is at the moment, until I see something that changes it, was that we should be able to, help if the operators want it, provide additional business to them and still maybe create another really great job on campus, without having to do major reconfiguring of facilities or things like that. And then I had one follow-up question to what Tom was asking about as we try and work through. In our new rules package, I was of the impression or understanding that if we needed to, we have the ability, I guess, if something's not permanently assigned, to look at a facility and reconfigure it, or, add things to it or take things from it to try and improve it if we can. Or am I misunderstanding that?
No, I believe we can. Unless somebody tells me we're wrong.
Okay.
We can, if it's not assigned, we can rearrange and add and, like you said, subtract or whatever, to make the facility
hopefully we don't have to
more palpable. Yeah. But in some cases, we might. I know we have the deal where we tell an operator who is awarded something that they don't have to take these particular sites.
Right.
Which is probably the best way to go. We don't want to make the assumption they don't want anything, but there may be cases where something just doesn't fit, and would fit better with something else that we could add it to. So there may be that case, but yes. Okay. The other major university, I had these as separate things on the agenda, but we kind of hit the growth part and the basic update was the OSU branches. So that's kind of still under that university umbrella. Christy, you asked for that on there.
Sure, Madam Chair. So OSU branch campuses, we have two right now, Mansfield and Newark, that we've got temps in there. They want out immediately. So we do have and we'll talk about it when we get to temp agreements, potential idea for Newark, and I'll let Sally explain that. But I want to talk about Mansfield right now for sure. We're in a spot right now where we need the committee's input. The contract, and they're all tied, it's one big contract with the main campus ones. The contract specifically says that it'll be a blind operator that runs the business. So if we are going to pull out of Mansfield, we're going to have our legal go to their legal or us go to the procurement, open up the contract, either ask for an amendment so we could potentially third party that out, or ask that Mansfield be taken off the list. I don't know how that's going to be received. It worries me a little. Now, with Mansfield, and I think that this happened very recently, or it's about to happen, we are removing 7 machines. So we are removing 7 machines. I still, again, no one's going to want to take it over in the summer, but what it would do in the fall, I'm not sure. I don't know if removing the 7 machines, making it a little bit more, profitable. I don't know. Mansfield is a big, huge route, the other facility there. Again, we're trying to hang on to this so we don't have to open up that contract. But if no one wants to run it, we're at the point right now where if you guys say, open up the contract, go and see if they'll either, let us third party or remove it, then that's what we'll do. We're removing the 7 machines April 19th, by the way.
I have a question. If an operator were to third party, subcontract it, would that, the operator would still be the assigned person, but would subcontract it? Would that satisfy the agreement, do we think?
The way that it was worded and read, it probably not, unfortunately, is what we were told.
Okay. I know that the program typically does them, but, and I only get that from the discussion that we've had at the federal level with the
Sure.
Around the country where they say operators can subcontract, and not the Bureau at those levels. So I was wondering if that might be of interest to anybody, if they could and then they have to find someone to do it, obviously. I guess I don't know if an operator subcontracted it, and this is probably all for attorneys to figure out, if an operator was willing and able, which is a big if, finding someone to subcontract it, was able to do that, I don't know what the difference would be between an operator having a subcontractor do it or having an employee do it. But like I said, there might be language to that effect. Any other thoughts from anybody?
Madam Chair, is it just that there's nobody in their area, or is it because it's too small, or what's causing
It doesn't
the
make any money. they took away several machines, which actually probably helps it some, because it was way over equipped for the amount of sales that was there. But it's just not making any money, and it was a lot of work and just not doing anything.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Larry.
Oh, yeah, I'm currently temping that spot, and 2 of the machines are currently off, and the other 3 are coffee, and then there's 2 others that are working right now. Those are the basically 2 machines are being removed that are actually filled, so it wouldn't make that much difference.
Okay.
Just wanted to point that out.
So I know there's several machines there. How many machines are there total? I don't remember from the vacancy announcement, but.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Sally.
there are currently 20, and it'll be down to 13 after April 19th.
Wow. And that's in several buildings, I assume. Spread out.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a decent job-ish, a lot of work as far as that part goes. Not a decent job money-wise, but a lot of work for somebody to do and not getting a lot of money. And that's where the problem lies. And boy, I don't even know if we could get a subcontractor to do it. I don't know. It might be worth. I mean, it's worked with, and I know this is Ohio State. I know it's a different entity. But boy, we've done this before where we've waived parts of agreements. Where we said, hey, we can't any longer do this. And like I said, I know it's Ohio State. As I'm talking, I know they're not as easy to deal with as DAS, for example. I know we've done this in under DAS agreements, where we said we're waiving this particular thing. We're going to keep everything else that's in the agreement, but we're going to waive this part.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Sally.
Jen Mead is the consultant over that location right now, and she has a little bit more information about things in the pipeline with that. If she could just explain that to everyone.
Okay. Jen? I think Jen's muted still. Is she?
Star 6 to unmute, Jen.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we sure can.
Okay, sorry. I started talking and I was like, oh yeah, the mute button doesn't actually unmute me on my phone. So yes, as it stands right now, OSU Mansfield is obviously tied to North Central State. So there are 4 buildings, and 5 buildings on OSU Mansfield side and 3 buildings on the North Central State side. Yes, it does not make money. It is not sustainable, and that I completely agree with. My concern is I've been in talks with a grantor who oversees North Central State. North Central State has an adult learning center that's roughly 10 minutes up 39 from OSU Mansfield. It's called the Kehoe Center. I've been in talks with the grantor about that since we first went in there. And they have anywhere between 400 to 600 people on that campus a day, and it's only 4 machines. And that goes obviously year round. My only concern with that, this is just my thought process, but is to make it more attractive is if we could combine those 2. But the problem is if we pull out of OSU Mansfield, we are going to potentially lose that site that would make up the difference for what we're lacking over on the main campus, just because there's more people there. And I've gotten numbers too about their population, and they are only running not even at 50% capacity pre-pandemic. So I wanted to let you guys know that was kind of something that I've been working on, but if we do pull out of Mansfield, then we're going to lose that potential site attachment at the Kehoe Center as well.
So, okay, we don't have the Kehoe Center now. That's not part of this other thing. Is that what you're saying? That's
Yes, we don't have
okay.
it
So we're
yet.
trying to get that, and we're hoping to put it with OSU Mansfield, and then make it into something decent.
Correct, and that was my hope. But I'm not. Their current contract with their current vendor at Kehoe is not up until after spring semester. And I was going to do site assessment and get numbers in May with the grantor at North Central State. And the numbers, he gave me preliminary numbers, and the Kehoe Center does more than the North Central State side does at OSU Mansfield.
Okay. So can we possibly, I mean, we're coming into summer, and no more sales than this is doing. The machines are full. They're going to be product in them at least till, they get out probably later this month. When it goes to summer quarter, I doubt Mansfield has anything there. I mean, if they haven't had it during the school year, there's probably not much going on in the summer. Can we contact them and not give them a decision yet and see if we get this other business? And then if we do, it may be more attractive for somebody as a side attachment then, that it would actually make money. Am I making sense of what I'm saying? We kind of hold off. We don't have anyone assigned there once Larry's done. Summer comes, it's going to be slow. They may do without service for a minute, which isn't ideal, but it is summer, so there's probably not going to be hardly anyone there to complain about it. And then we see if we get this other business, since it's going to happen here pretty shortly in May. If we get it, then we may be more successful in getting somebody to take this.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Larry.
I heard Jen say that the new building will do more than North Central State. I think North Central State's doing about $300 a month. Currently.
Yes.
I agree with Larry.
So,
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Jen,
please.
did they give you any indication on what the sales are for those machines at the Kehoe?
I can get them. The grantor was working on getting all that information for me, but I have asked to hold off on that, not sure what direction we were going to be going, because I did not want him to put forth the effort if, we don't have anyone to take it. I guess I'm also looking at this too. We went in September of 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic. And they have not been at, even looking at numbers prior to COVID, they weren't very high, not high enough to substantiate, I believe, all of the machines that we put in there first off. But they're also not, their enrollment numbers aren't even where they were, because their capacity, for instance, on the OSU side, they're only, if they have a classroom, instead of having 24 students in that classroom in one class, they will break that into 2 separate classes with 12 students in it. And North Central State has been following suit as well in the same area. They're only running at about 50% capacity in person right now. Their goal is to get back to at least 80% capacity come fall semester. But we have been playing this game for the last almost 2 years of wait and see because of everything that's been going on. I can get numbers though.
I think we should get the numbers.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Lee.
Yeah, me and Jen went over the numbers, and North Central State seems to be the part that's very really unperforming, and at the same time they're the ones that are promising more and more at each go round, and they have not met any of their expectations so far, and I can no longer afford to wait.
No, we understand that, Larry. And I don't believe anyone's asking you to. I'm just saying
So, Madam Chair,
yes.
So I think we've been discussing this for a long time. I honestly think the only choice we have is to go to OSU and pull out of this and see what happens, because I do not want to go with complete violation of a BGA and not service them at all. With also not knowing, well, we might have someone in the fall, we might not. I just think that at this point we need to pull the trigger and probably go to OSU and tell them we need to pull out of Mansfield and hope that this doesn't blow that whole entire contract up.
Well, you see what they say. Yeah. I mean, they would obviously give us some notice if that was their intent, I would think that.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Larry. Are they planning on putting the main campus out anytime soon? Maybe it could be an option to attach it to the main campus. I don't know, just an idea.
We're going to put some of that out soon, but boy, that'd be a heck of a jaunt up there for no more sales than it is.
It's a jog no matter where you are.
Yeah, it is. And here's the thing with OSU. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Even if they tried to say, well, this blows your contract, it doesn't blow our priority. So we're already there. Suitable sites have already been established. We're there. They're not going to get rid of us. So I guess that's what we have to do then, is contact them and see. Anyone else have any thoughts on it?
If that new facility gets 400 people in it on a regular basis, that's not hateful. So I don't know if we should. And it'd be kind of nice to wait and see if we can get that as well, and that would make it a much better attachment or facility.
It really would. I would love to see if 400 to 600 people, if that could boost it. I hate giving it up, and as I said, I see what Christy was saying too about, maybe not. We don't want nothing, and good Lord, if I was in a position to get up there and do it, I would just do it for a little bit, just to say they had somebody that we found out, but I'm not.
So would I.
I wish I could. Just to do it for a few months till we got some answers. But shoot, that's hard, because I hate to lose that other potential business, and I mean 600 people in a building that's for all vending is potentially, that could be decent.
Well, I just received a text, Madam Chair. I just received a text.
Yes, Frank.
John McNamara says he can cover Mansfield.
Oh, there you go. Thank you, John. If the Bureau's up for that, I'm the rep for that area. It's a Toledo facility, so I'll say I have no problem with that if John wants to temp it. So, Sally and Lynn,
Madam
and
Chair.
all that. Yes, Sally.
I do not have a problem with that either. And thanks, John, for.
Thank you, John. Absolutely for buying.
Madam Chair?
Buys our time. Yes, John.
Yeah, I'm already doing Worcester, so once a week I can just add it with the Worcester run. It's not that big of a deal. And I'm giving up stuff to Mel in Cincinnati, so it's just basically switching out some machines. And I live closer to Mansfield than I do Cincinnati.
Well, absolutely.
And we're also shutting down the 2 shooting ranges, so that's a lot of my driving too that I don't have to do anymore. So
no, we appreciate
that's all I have
John.
to say. Yeah.
No,
All right.
that's great.
Madam Chair, it's
Yes.
Jen. May I?
Yes, Jen.
Okay. I just wanted to say, so Johnny Mac, that actually is a once every 2 weeks right now. So, and during the summer, what we did last summer too, was we shut the machines down for summer semester. So I guess that's something we can discuss probably the beginning of next week. Give me a call.
I've done 14 years in colleges, so I understand the ebb and the flow and everything. Yeah, we can talk about all that. That's fine.
Okay, great. Thanks, John.
Sounds good. That buys us the time to get those numbers for that other place, and John's very capable of doing that, and so thank you. So, okay, do we have anything else with the brand? I know the Newark we're going to talk about here with something else. Was there any other things with the OSU branches? Any other ones out there that's okay? And any other big not the temp stuff, but the big university issues? Okay, so let's talk about the temps then. We have a whole lot of them out there. We have some of them we're probably not ready to do anything about yet. A lot of these agreements end in June. The committee postponed them till then. We have some facilities. I know a lot of them are universities that we were hoping to be able to transition during the summer months. But before fall semester began. So I wanted to put it on the agenda so we really can start talking about it and knowing what all's coming and figuring out what we're going to do with different things.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Tom.
I guess I'd like to start this off if you're okay with that.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I'd like to put Cleveland State out for bid this summer as a facility. I believe Jen or Sally, I don't know when the temp agreement runs out, but I believe that there's a small gap of maybe a month between when the current agreement runs out and when the posting would be, or the transition would happen. So I think we might need to extend it a short period of time. And there's the post office, the Parma post office or Brook Park post office. That one I'd also like to put out as a site attachment, but that's another one a site attachment or bundle it with another facility. But unfortunately, that temp agreement runs out too soon, so we need to extend that one by 2 months as well.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Sally.
Both Cleveland State and the Parma Annex, those both, the TBOAs expire May 9th.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. Well, they probably will need extended then because we'll never have them bid and assigned by then.
Right.
So, especially
Can we
for
extend both of those to July 1st?
That makes sense to me. Anyone? So then we want to put them out for bid. And that's why I'm saying we these universities especially, I know we have other places out there, but these universities especially, if we want to do these transitions this summer, we really need to start talking about a plan, because not only do we want it, we're going to have a fairly small window. I know the Bureau doesn't want them all transitioned in the same week. That's not going to be.
Why not?
No, and
just,
we have one here in Cincinnati we're going to talk about as well, and that or one we need that's a little
yes.
that
So we know Cleveland State. I guess we need to make a list here and start figuring out when these are going to. And we still have this thing over our head that we don't have approval from RSA yet either, which worries me on selections. It worries me greatly. I'll be honest with you. I am hoping that we do not have to do any selections. I hope we get this approval. That's, I guess, the way I want to say it, because I don't like having rules that can be interpreted two different ways by two different entities when it comes to a selection. That's bothersome to me. I know we're going to have a facility coming out very shortly in Kent State. But I digress. That just worries me some, that if we don't get this approval here soon. But so we want Cleveland State to probably come out this summer, or to transition this summer. I guess we need to make a list of what all we're going to need to bid out.
Madam Chair, I'd like to see Ohio State put out this summer as well.
Okay. Do we have a plan yet with Ohio State how those are going to look?
We talked a little bit, but
Okay.
they needs to be reconfigured a little bit.
That's what I
From my
figured. I
understanding.
figured there was going to be some reconfiguration there, and I'm sure
have
you
not
and
talked
Mark
yet,
have been part of that. Who's the consultant who's doing Ohio State? Pardon me?
Madam Chair, this is Sally.
Yes.
Kelsey Burrier is the consultant for main campus.
Okay.
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Yes. John.
Kelsey and I talked a little bit after our last meeting, but there's definitely a lot more discussion that needs to take place. So probably going to need to start that pretty soon, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I was going to say you and Kelsey and Sally and Mark, and
Yeah.
I really need to get on that. And then we have Ston, who's brought up some stuff, and he may need to be consulted in some of that, because I know there was some talk about his facility, which gets into that other issue we brought up. But if there's reconfiguring to do, he may have some input in that too. So yeah, you guys might
Madam
want to
Chair,
really get rolling on that if we're going to bid it and transition it this summer.
And sure, the problem with the universities is they keep changing how their buildings, and they keep adding and doing stuff to their buildings. So it's going to work well like right now, but who knows what it's going to look like in 2-3 years. But we got to deal with that.
Yep. That's true. That's going to be a constant thing, especially on these ones where we have multiple people, like Ohio State, or we've dealt with that with Cincinnati a lot, when buildings open, buildings close, construction. I mean, good Lord, Ohio State must have like 10 of their own construction crews, because they're always doing construction out there. So,
Madam Chair, I say that University of Cincinnati stands for under construction.
Yes, that's true. You see it. So those two will come, or three, or whatever gets decided on. Ohio State, Cleveland State will come out. We already know Kent State is going to. Frank, you got something in Cincinnati?
Yeah, at the University of Cincinnati on main campus, we have 2 permanent operators, and then Mike Osborne was a permanent operator at one time, but I believe it was last year or so when he was awarded the post office. But he's been temping facility 409 for us for a while, but he has indicated to everybody that that contract expires at the end of June, and he does not want it renewed, that he wants to be able to focus more on his post office operations. He's increased sales there and has, the building downtown, and then they have like another operation out in Springdale, which was a part of that facility and they've got another site that I believe he wants to put his time and effort into the post office stuff. And, like I said, has said he doesn't want that contract renewed. Mainly on main campus, facility 409 has 2 buildings. I believe it consists of Zimmer and DAP. We do have 2 permanent operators on main campus, one of which is my brother, and the other one is Patrick, too. The original thought was, do we take these 2 buildings and just put them out as site attachments and let the operators apply, let each operator apply for the ones that are each one that is closest? I think they kind of, DAP, I think, is closer to Dave's facility, and Zimmer is closer to Patrick's facility. So I don't know where we want to go with that. And so that's what we were thinking about. But then yesterday afternoon, when Sally had called me about something I think she was working on with you and Annette about putting a couple facilities together, sites together to try and create a facility or try and improve it a little bit, she threw a different idea out to me about taking the 2 UC buildings, putting them with the federal courthouse, and then tying them to one of the post offices, 323 out in Sharonville, which we have a temp out there right now, a new licensee who's been running that since September of last year, tying all of that together and, I guess seeing if we wanted to look at and we did not, we didn't have a chance. It was yesterday afternoon. I haven't had a chance to look at sales numbers all put together and everything for all of that. But that was another idea. And, as we move forward, we're trying to make sure we create good jobs. And I will tell everybody on the committee what I told Sally. My only concern with that is the federal courthouse and federal clearance. Most of our people don't have it. And finding somebody who does is, rare. They can get it. The problem is it takes an inordinate amount of time.
It does, but that's like any assigned operator on these federal properties. We always have to go through that process. So if you did time together and put it out for bid, that operator would just have to go through that process, and they may not be able to step in there day one. Whoever's running it now would have to, we would ask them to continue. Who's running that courthouse now?
John
I
Mack.
believe.
Oh, okay. So
The answer is always Johnny Mack.
Yeah, I know.
Or Jeb Davis.
Yeah. Jim has a lot too. That's true. So, so they might have to, we may ask them to stick around for a little bit, but if we put these together, made it a facility, the new operator, their first course of business would be to get that GSA clearance rolling. And I know that's not an easy process. I've been through it myself, so it's not. But
and it's not an Ohio issue; it's a national issue.
It is.
Mel, who's in our federal building, has said. Oh, John said it should only take 60 days if you have all of your fingers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, we got to have a little fun, guys.
We do.
Anyway. So that's an idea. We should look at that. But if we, for whatever reason, if we don't do it that way, then it kind of goes to, like to the heart of what Tom was talking about earlier. Well, do we combine those, with the already existing facilities since they're so close in proximity to the other 2 facilities, or do we post them as site attachments? And I don't have a preferred method either way. I just wanted to see if the committee had any thought or any.
Do we have sales? Like for all of it to combine, what would the sales be if those 2 UC buildings, the post office, and the courthouse?
No, we haven't had a chance. We haven't had a chance on that, and
Okay.
Sally and I talked about that for the first time yesterday afternoon. And I haven't.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Sally.
Frank, it looks like there are actually 6 UC locations. So it's DAP, 1819 Innovation Hub, Langsam Library, Stratford Heights, and Zimmer.
Oh, okay. So there's more there than I thought.
So 6
Yeah,
in
but
the
put
courthouse.
together some.
Well, that innovation hub is new. We don't have anybody assigned to that yet, or we don't even have anybody to temp it yet.
Yeah.
No, that was 5. It's part of 409. The one you're thinking about is the digital futures.
Oh, okay.
It's just down the street from Innovation Hub, though.
Got ya.
How could you get Innovation Hub and Digital Futures mixed up, Frank? I mean, come on. These names for these places.
Because they sound similar.
They do.
Well,
I'm teasing you.
because the digital futures and that is quote unquote a part of the innovation corridor.
Oh.
Whatever that is.
I was going to say that you've gone above me now. That's for sure.
Yeah. I don't
Okay.
know what that is, but you said so.
Well, you guys work on that in Cincinnati. I think you guys will be fine, and we'll get some sales and stuff. I'm trying to remember the new rules, but over the years we've seen so many drafts of rules. If putting all that together, the committee needs to weigh in on that. I think so, if I remember correct. So.
Right. I just don't want the new licensee who's been almost a year. I mean, yeah, if we decide to do that, that kind of puts him in a. I think the way he's doing it now, that facility is closer to where he lives, and he can get there easy and things like that.
Yeah.
So we put all that stuff. He may or may not be interested. I'm not going to assume one way or another.
Right. Well, get some sales, and you guys figure something out with that. So we have that facility out there, and the ones in Columbus, Cleveland State, Akron U. Should we hold off on that still a little longer, everyone think, until we have a good feel for the POP situation? Yes, Sally.
My thought, and Larry and I haven't really talked about this closely, but I think the thought was Jeff Squibb is temping the snacks there right now. So if he could also tempt the beverages for a while, just to see if it's one facility or if it would make 2. It's kind of my thought.
Yep.
Madam Chair, that makes perfect sense to me.
Okay. Sounds good. We'll hold off on that. Then the other one I know that is, and it's not really a universe, well, it could be the branches. We have the one in Zanesville, not OU. I don't think we're ready to do anything with OU yet. But the one in Zanesville that we have the operator resigning from. And Sally, you want to describe some of that and some of the ideas for?
Sure. So actually the consultant came up with this idea, and I thought it was a pretty good plan. So the operator who is running I-77 northbound Guernsey County has resigned. His current facility, 415, consists of the rest area. There's a BWC, the ODOT Guernsey County Garage, Appalachian Behavioral Health. There's also a Highway Patrol headquarters. And then did I already say Appalachian Behavioral Health? That one too.
Yeah.
If I did. So those are all in Cambridge, and we thought take those sites and put it with OSU Newark to make a better job. And then also attached to what's currently 415 is KSU Tusk and Ohio State Highway Patrol. And those are all in New Philadelphia. As well as the ODOT district headquarters. So we thought putting out New Philadelphia sites as site attachments for those folks in that area, and then take the rest area, the Cambridge locations, and OSU Newark to make one better facility.
Anyone have any thoughts on that? I think it's pretty good. The only thing that would give me a little pause is Newark's a little ways from Cambridge. But I think it's doable. So.
I mapped it out and it looks like it's about an hour.
Yeah. So I think that's an idea. Put that together. And does anyone want? Sally sent the sales, and I don't. Now my brain is fuzzy, so I don't remember what. So, what the total sales would some of that be?
Yeah, Madam Chair, could she tell
Yes.
us the total sales with everything combined and what the net looks like?
Madam Chair, while that's in process, can I take a second to throw something out as well?
Yes, Tom.
This topic kind of brings up one of the things we're going to have to hammer out when we get to talking about what we do with university drinks and other facilities. Is I think the committee needs to work together with the Bureau to establish a standard for what is a job versus a site attachment. We need to, obviously, different formats require different numbers. Like a snack counter is going to require different sales to be a facility than, say, a rest area.
Right.
But if we're going to take a look at something, what's our threshold to determine which one it is? And that's something we're going to have to be able to apply to the thing I mentioned earlier, that building that's going to need to be combined, the universities that are going to be adding drinks. Somehow we got to figure this out.
Yeah. All of that needs to be figured out. I never liked standards because they just don't seem to apply to, I mean, there could probably be really general ones, but, there's so many factors, geography and storage and
employees, vehicles, and
yeah. I mean, there's just so many different things that just a sales number doesn't apply.
Well, Madam Chair, I don't bring up the easy ones.
I know you don't. No, that's true. So, do we get and I know you sent them to me, and Frank, Sally, what the sales were for Cambridge and Newark? Yeah. Okay.
And so OSU Newark has not, it's only been open since like October of 2020, I think, the fall of 2020. So bear in mind that this is pandemic numbers.
Right, right.
October 2020 through September 1st, 2021, both combined, the gross sales were $65,809. Net proceeds, there were some negative net proceeds on the permanent facility, and the net proceeds were $7,333. Now, looking this fiscal year, October 1st through February of 2022. October 1st, 2021 through February 1st, 2022, gross sales for both were $38,272. So a little more than half of what it was the entire previous fiscal year. And then net proceeds were almost $6,400 for the 5 months.
Yeah. And and you did take the Kent State ones off of that, those numbers.
I will have to double check with Sarah. I don't know that she had by site sales.
Okay.
But Kelsey Berger has, I think, some better numbers from when KSU was posted previously.
Yeah, because if the Kent State numbers are part of that, and we're taking that off, that's even bleaker.
Yeah, I mean, if rather put it out as sites, it doesn't matter to me. Just trying to make jobs.
It's good to try and get a job, but is it a job? And those sales are.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
This is John, candidate.
Yes, John.
Just for a little bit more clarification, this is Zanesville smack dab in the middle of those two, Newark and Cambridge. Considering the proximity of Newark's campus and the location of the rest area, that's not an hour's drive. That's with considering traffic and everything, you got to consider at least an hour and a half. So I realize the mileage, tracking out by mileage, but with traffic and everything, it's a good hour and a half between the two. Just for people to consider.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, John, because you're definitely familiar with the area. Boy, I just don't know if that's a job for somebody. Man, but and I applaud the attempt to try and make it a job because we need jobs. But
Madam Chair, those sales were just for 3 months, were they not?
the 38,000 was for October through February.
I thought you said February 1st.
Oh, was it February 1st or through February?
October 1st through February.
Through the month of February. Okay.
Through the whole month of February?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I thought you said, then that's not really a good job because the expenses are going to be high for that kind of job, especially with mileage.
And storage and yeah.
Storage. I don't think that's a good enough job.
I don't see it being a job for someone.
Even for what I thought it was not a good job, but even now it's even worse. That's not a job, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm the last one to want to say that because I hate not having jobs, and I've defended some pretty low income jobs before, but that one's going to be a tremendous amount of work for nothing.
And Madam Chair, with inflation going the way it's going, it's going to be even worse. And with gas where it's at, I mean, it's really, really not a job, unfortunately.
Yeah. I'm wondering, is there anything else out there that could be part of that? I don't think there is, or you would have come up with
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Madam Chair, this is Christy. Part of the issue is that we've got an operator resigning that, again, I don't know how good those numbers are. Like, I think that the rest area has far more potential than what it produced.
Okay, then let's temp it then. Before we bid it out, can we temp it? We're coming into summer. So if the rest area is going to do anything, it'll do something then. I could not imagine we wouldn't have a problem finding someone to temp a rest area. I know there's some other things there too, but for the summer months. So why don't we just temp it and try and gauge some good sales and see if this is a job for somebody.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Sally.
Hate that these words are even coming out of my mouth.
Yeah.
But the person at OSU Newark is wanting out of there as well. So I don't know that we've got anyone else to tempt that.
Where's John? No, I'm sorry. Never mind.
Davis McNair.
No, he's hiding the I'm teasing. Yeah, I know.
Madam Chair, is that a secondary or primary rest area? Just curious. No.
It's 77, so it's on interstate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can tempt then. I don't know. Maybe we can find someone else to tempt the Newark.
Madam Chair.
Yes. I don't know.
It's Mark.
Oh, hey,
It's
Mark.
Mark.
Okay.
I'm temping Newark right now. And
Okay.
I don't have a problem with continuing it. I got 5 machines in Newark alone that's been shut off all year. That I just, shut them off and, put product problems because I think if they would downsize that there a little bit, I don't mind staying there longer, but we got to downsize Newark. It's over equipped.
Okay.
Well, Yeah, I was gonna say there's no reason we can't look at that. I'm not surprised. We over-equipped a lot of this stuff, so.
And I also temped the rest area on 77 at one time a few years back, and I didn't think it did too bad when I temped just the rest area. So, I mean, at least you'd have somewhere to move your products. You know what I mean? If they was getting ready to get low on dates, you could move them to the rest area to move them out. You wouldn't be, you know what I mean, stuck with eating all that product from the school when it, you know, dates out.
Yeah, if the sales are there, it's not a bad, you know, in theory it should be okay. We just got to make sure the sales are there and we don't set someone up to fail.
Right.
Being a permanent job. So, yeah, let's temp it and look at downsizing Newark and going from there.
So would we
like I said,
temp that all together, or is it two separate temps?
I would say two separate temps, or temp it however you need to temp it, I guess. But it's with the sales is what we really want. You know, if Mark's willing to stay at Newark, then I would temp that rest area with the Cambridge stuff and see what sales we can get. Okay. Are there any other things that I'm missing that we think needs to be bid out? You know, we had this time clock here with these universities and people leaving and things like that. Some of the other temps, you know, it's my opinion, we shouldn't rush on because we have all this stuff going on. And when this happens, there's going to be an avalanche effect as people move. And
Madam Chair,
yes, Tom.
the Parma Post Office Annex, do we need to make a motion to extend that temp, or can we just give it as just a statement here in the Bureau, take it? Because what's going on is there's a Parma Post Office Annex that opened around between Thanksgiving and Christmas last year. And they added 2 machines there. They've moved some employees over there. The sales for it are okay. Right now, it's a site attachment. It's $1,000 a month in sales. They're talking about adding some more equipment. They're talking about adding some more people there. So there's some hopes it can get a little bit better, but it's not going to be crazy. But there's a snack counter that used to be part of Facility 61 in the county courthouse that is also being broken off. Our thoughts are locally that we would like to combine that snack counter with that post office. And also right now there's a MEPS facility that's up for site attachment. If that doesn't get a taker, we'd like to combine those 3 and try to put it out as a facility. But we need some more time because the temp agreement runs out before all that can happen.
No, I'm all for extending it. If we need to extend temps to possibly make jobs, we should. But I don't know if we need we've done it both ways. Sometimes we've made motions to do them, and sometimes we just said, okay, go ahead. And didn't make it quite so formalized after discussion at the meeting. So if
either one's fine with me, I just want to make sure the Bureau can move forward.
Then, yeah, if you want to make a motion, I don't think the Bureau is going to have any objection to extending that temp.
Madam Chair, then I move that we extend the Parma Post Office Annex temp contract until August 1st, 2022.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, we had John and Frank, so I think John got in first. So, all right, any discussion on extending that temp? Okay, then we'll call for the vote. Tom?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Larry? Uh-oh, Larry, you're temped, or you're muted, I mean.
Yes.
Okay, there he is. Jim?
Yep.
And Frank?
Yes.
Okay. So that makes it real official. I said, are there any others that we think are time-sensitive temps that need to be dealt with? Okay, good. Because I was going to say, these ones enough this summer are going to make a tsunami effect as people bid on them and other things come open, and it's going to be a real fun time.
Madam Chair.
Deal with that. Yes.
This is John Canada again. I apologize.
Yes, John.
Could I circle
that's
back
okay, John.
to the rest area Newark situation one more time?
Yes, absolutely.
Just for the committee for their consideration. The rest area just south on 77 is completely closed down. Mile marker 6, the Marietta northbound rest area is, it's been demolished and is going to be under reconstruction. So that should increase the sales at that, the rest area above it. But just for the consideration of the committee, when that does come back online, that's going to be the one in Marietta is going to be an all-inclusive rest area with the vending and everything inside of it. So I would assume that that's going to affect negatively the one just above that again. So if you do combine them as a permanent location eventually, then that would have a negative impact on that facility. Just,
Okay.
First of all, it's going to have a positive impact because that rest area is closed. That should increase the sales for that rest area for a while. But when it does reopen, that would be a negative impact, I would assume. So
it will
just for the committee's consideration. Yeah.
No, John,
All right,
and to be honest, I very much appreciate your input because we don't have a rep in the Zanesville area, and your knowledge of the geography and the locations and stuff is very valuable to us. So we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other temp things? I think I asked that, but I wanted to make sure.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Sorry, I know this is the topic that is ending, but I'll save the rest for the next meeting. But the only one I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. OU Athens. Jim Debus is temping half the campus right now, and we talked about taking over the other half next summer. So do we want to keep Jim's temp going past June 30th of this year?
Anyone else can chime in, but my personal opinion is that we shouldn't be in any rush to get that one out for bid until we figure out what's going to happen and what it looks like. So I would be all for extending the temp agreement there.
Okay, that was my thought as well, but I just wanted to get everybody's opinion here.
Anyone else have any thoughts on that, or? Okay, and we can make that official too if we need to do a motion if we want to extend that agreement. If anyone would like,
we can make it, Madam Chair, if we need to. When are we extending it?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Boy, if we're not going to take that rest over for a year, I would be inclined to just keep it temp for, this place came out for bid. Nobody was interested. So it's not like people are chomping at the bit to jump for this place. We have a whole bunch of other facilities coming around, and we don't know the effect that the beverages are going to have. So I honestly would rather not tie our hands on this one, since we know we're going to get the beverages there and have the flexibility of waiting until we see what they are. So if I were to make a motion, I would go ahead and temp it through at least through the end of June of 23.
What facility number is? I don't know the facility number.
I don't know.
717.
All right.
It's 717.
Yep. I was going to say the motion is to extend the temp agreement at facility 717 through June 30th of 2023.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay.
What does it sound like over there right now?
Sales.
That's me. Just got the credit cards the other day, and they're 5,700. So it stays afloat.
Yeah. For a month, you mean, for the?
Yeah.
Yeah, a month about. Okay.
Yeah. So it's still small. So I think it's worth waiting and
Yeah,
getting
that's not.
whatever it is. Okay. Any more discussion on that? All right. To vote on it, Frank,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Jim.
Abstain?
Okay. I thought that might be. All right. Okay. Any others? All right. That should keep everyone busy for a little bit, just feeling full of those. The last thing on the agenda I have is the purchasing of operators purchasing equipment. And I'll give a little more history since that was kind of vague. It came up. Couple folks have brought it up and had the idea that if an operator wanted to enhance their facility somehow with, a new machine or something that they would like to replace, and the program just didn't have the money for it, and the operator really wanted to do it, could that operator pony up their own money, the approximately 21% of the purchase costs for the equipment, and give that to the Bureau. The Bureau take that money, match it, and be able to purchase the machine then without costing the program really anything. That idea's been broached, and we talked about it very briefly at the last meeting. But so it was asked to be put on the agenda for this one for further discussion. If that's something we wanted to talk about, can it be done? And do we want it to be done if it can? So, any thoughts?
Actually, I thought the Bureau was going to look into it.
Yes, they talked about it. We broached it at the last meeting and put it on the agenda for this one. Did you guys get a chance to investigate that at all?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
This is Christy.
Yes.
I did have a brief conversation with Maria, the CFO, and again, I think that you guys need to, we need to, I have more questions than answers on exactly how to work out. First, I think you guys need to talk that through on how it would work out, and then ultimately we would go and we'd ask RSA if it's an allowable thing.
Mm-hmm.
Before we did anything, because if it's a donation, is it a donation? Is it because there's definitely requirements for donations in the CFR. Because right now, when we buy equipment, we authorize per facility. So, some of the questions I might have is, what happens when that person leaves?
Correct.
So
there would definitely have to be a lot of discussion about that. My just off the top of my head, my initial thoughts would be the operator got to deal with it while they were there, but it's still ultimately 80% of it was purchased by the program money. So even though it was not money the program had, it was money we were able to get, but still. But that's something we'd all have to work out. Probably a policy on how it would work, if it can work, if it's allowed.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Amy. This is Amy. One thing that we found out that from the CFO that's in the CFR is that when donations, the expenditures made from those donations can't benefit in any way the donor. So if an operator was to donate, it would have to kind of go into the big pot of money for the program. So the operator, if they donated specifically an amount of money for a piece of equipment, we couldn't expend that money to benefit just that operator because they would be the donor.
Okay.
And I think that this is where we get into, we need to reach out to RSA to see what exactly is allowed, because we'd have to report that revenue somehow on the RSA 15. So I think the best route for us to go is to reach out to RSA to see if it's allowed, and then this could go several different directions. And I think once we maybe get an answer for them, then we kind of see what direction we're going and find out the answers after that.
No, absolutely. That makes sense. We don't want to. The donor thing's interesting. To me, it doesn't seem like a donation if the operator's doing it, to enhance their own business. But I don't know. They might see it completely
Madam
different.
Chair.
Frank?
It's Greg.
Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, so, the donor, the piece of it is, and what this is meant, it's so that the match money isn't used for people to just make more money. And so while you may be doing it for your business, as the code reads, if you put money forward and it's the 21% for a specific thing that would go to your business, that does not appear to be allowable because you as the operator would benefit. But so we're going to, as you read the code, it doesn't sound like it's something that we could do where it'd be an individual does something to get a specific piece of equipment. But, we'll ask and we'll try to get some information from RSA, because I think, as Amy said, depending on what they say, there's different paths this could go. RSA could come back and say, yeah, that ain't happening. You can't do that for match. RSA could say, yes, but a person can't donate a specific amount for a specific machine that goes directly to them. It would have to go in the larger pot, and then that's a discussion for you guys to, is that even remotely what you're talking about wanting to do? Or they could say you could do it, but, you can do it, but then that's the third path that they say you can do it, but then we've got to discuss as an agency and as a group, how does that work? Because then that raises a whole other lot of questions and decision points. Who's in charge of maintenance? Who owns the machine? When the operator leaves that facility, is that a piece of equipment theirs? There's state procurement rules. When we want to, you would not believe, well, you guys know, when we try to even just get rid of something that's old, we got to go through a lot of, so I think the first step is let's just see what RSA says, and then we can go down the path that we need to, because we could have a lot of different conversations on a lot of different things, but we don't know what conversation we really need to have until we know what the path is.
Okay. Makes sense. Frank, were you trying to get in, or did I?
Yes.
Okay.
I was going to say, Madam Chair, we have a national expert on, a subscription to NABM, and we have Terry Smith, so we should probably use his expertise as well and see at least get him to chime in on this. And now, we all know that certain state codes can differ across the country to some degree. So, but yeah, we should certainly get Terry Smith's feedback as well and see what his thoughts are on this particular situation.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know that we have operators who have 1,400 or 1,500 or 2,000, depending what it is they need to buy, that are going to be ready to run out and spend that money, with everybody trying to work their way coming back from the pandemic and everything. But we might have some operators who would have the financial ability to do that if they so chose to.
Oh. Okay. So we'll look into that more and kind of keep it on our radar. Any other discussion with this? Okay. Then we're to the anything else part. I will say I got contacted and he doesn't even know this yet because it could just kind of happen. RSA has been doing talks with states for the last couple years. They do 3 at a time, and Ohio's numbers up, I guess. So they sent me a notice, and they probably have or will be sending one to the Bureau folks, where they want to meet with us and just kind of talk about the Ohio program. They're also doing with us Kentucky and North Carolina. And so I have a meeting. They've contacted committee chairs. I have a meeting on the 17th with RSA of May, 17th of May, with RSA, with the other chair people. And they said you can bring another committee person with you. So I'll ask Frank as vice chair to join us. And like I said, Frank, I didn't even get a chance to tell you about that yet. But we'll be on a call with them, and they're just going to talk to us about the Ohio program, and then they're going to talk to the SLA folks, and it's just a chance to kind of get some information and share some information between the two. I wanted the committee to know that it's Ohio's turn, and we'll be doing that in May. Did anyone have anything else?
I have one more thing, too.
Yes, John.
So, as most of you are aware, Tanya and I have been working on creating a standardized form for when we get a letter from SSI. Debbie Schwartz and my attorney have both seen what we created. I don't think Christie's approved it yet, but we do have one. My lawyer was very happy with it, and he recommends, and so does Debbie, that everybody get a letter once a year, because by doing that, then they're able to make sure that if they send it into SSI, that it's in their record properly. So I don't know if this needs a motion or not, but I'm asking the Bureau to do that, but only by the request of the person, because not everybody needs that letter. Because some people are retired and they don't need to provide that information.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Christy.
So we've been working with Tanya and John, and I think we have, I'm happy with the letter. I do have a problem just automatically doing a letter every year. I think we need to have the letter requested from SSA that triggers the letter that we do, because some SSA letters and requests ask for multiple years, some just want it for 1 year. So I still want to have a letter that we have from the operator that is requesting it from SSA.
Madam Chair?
Yes, John.
I'm going to put my personal thing in here at this point, just because it'll explain my reasoning. I have not received a check for 14 months now, and it ended up that the reason being is the last letter I got stated it was for 1 year, and it should have been for 3 years. And by having the letter for each of those 3 years, I would have totally avoided this problem. So that's why I disagree.
Point. And I get Christie's thing, because I'm seeing, there'd be a lot of legwork, a lot of stuff to be done, but it would be a challenge to go back so many years. We have had operators who've got notices and said, hey, 5 years ago, we don't know if you qualified. And so then everyone's trying to scramble to come up with numbers from then to satisfy this letter. So
I'm not suggesting, Madam. Sorry.
Yes, go ahead. No, I see why it would be beneficial to do one each year.
Yeah, the attorney also had a couple of other good, really good, compelling reasons. I don't remember the word, but I did share that with Tanya, so she might want to share that with Christy as well. But now I lost track of what I was going to say. Oh, I'm not suggesting that they do it for every single operator. I was suggesting that the operators should request it, but they have the opportunity to get it every year.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Scott.
I'm dealing with a lapse as well, and the only point of contention I would have with Christie's statement is the reason why several operators are experiencing a lapse is because SSA has just decided to, as a blanket sweep, remove services from individuals. And the whole point of asking for this uniform letter is to prevent a lapse in the first place, because I was in, unfortunately, the same sweep that John experienced, and it's been 14 months since I've had any services or benefits as well. So I would like it to be placed that the operator would make a request for the letter itself, because I don't feel that by the time SSA requests something, it's, there could be multiple years involved, that there could be a back issue.
Madam Chair?
Yes, John.
Also, there is no one in Ohio right now. The person who took over Debbie Schwartz's position has retired, and there's no one filling that position. So by sending that letter to our local offices, we are potentially preventing problems, because they have to put that letter in the system. And my attorney is also having problems finding someone on the national level who can handle the situation.
Wow.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Sally.
So I understand what you guys are saying, and I know what you're trying to avoid. What I need everybody to remember, though, is we are very short-staffed right now, and those letters are very time-consuming. We've got to get information from Schaefer. I mean, it's a lot of information gathering, and then to put it all in a letter, I mean, it's just very time-consuming. So I need everyone to remember that, and also remember that we are short-staffed severely. I think some of you are feeling the pains of that and not getting things done as quickly as you'd like. So I'm just asking everyone to keep that in mind.
Madam Chair, I understand where Sally's coming from. Sorry, I apologize. I understand where Sally's coming from, but the information that you guys are getting from Schaefer is information that Amy should have also as well. And, you also have to remember that I'm missing out on thousands and thousands of dollars right now of income. And that could have easily been avoided.
Yeah, this is pretty important. I mean, especially now. I mean, what a worse time for that to happen than for these folks and during a pandemic, when their businesses were affected. I know we've talked before about, being shorthanded, what everybody's doing, kind of prioritizing what the staff that we have now is doing, and seeing if, there's not more efficient and more priority things that can be done. Maybe there's stuff that's being done now that doesn't need to be done as urgently, I guess is the way I want to put it. Somebody was asking.
Madam Chair.
Yes. Amy?
It's Amy, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, okay.
I think there just needs to be a lot of more details with this, because we do have to have specific time periods of what we're running these numbers for. So, is it calendar year? And then once the calendar year is up, when are the letters needed after that? There's just a lot more details. It's not just pulling information. It's all about dates. And then, service charge and everything's a month behind. So we don't get the December numbers until the end of January. And then you run into tricky things of people switching facilities throughout the year. So I know that it seems like we have all the information. It should just be a simple like input export thing, but it is a little bit more complicated than that. I think we just need a lot more details of how this process would work, just because it is going to be time consuming for us and our staff to do.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Julie?
Yeah, it's me. Number one, are you guys still getting medical? Is that discontinued as well?
No, it's not.
And John, you're not getting medical either?
I don't have Medicare Part B, but my
No, I
Medicare
meant
Part A
the
did
other,
work.
the other one. I know you're on Kathy's, but what about the other John?
No, I'm getting that because I just used it in January, and it saved me thousands of dollars. Trust me.
And that, so are you still getting the Medicare, the medical?
Yeah.
Okay, that was one thing I wanted to know was, were you guys still getting the medical? Because some of these people are diabetics and stuff and are costing a lot of medical headaches, and they don't need to have that disrupted. And so
Right.
I'm glad to hear that, number one. And number two, back in the day when I was in Dayton years and years ago, Karen Whalen did all those. We would just submit our, what we needed, and she just somehow, I don't even know if she had a computer then, but I know she got all the information and sent it in and got it taken care of.
Oh, yeah, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get it to where it's a simplified, straightforward, because over the years, it's been all over the place. There for a while, we had someone like Karen to do it. We've had different consultants do it. It's been everywhere. We've had some things that were counted and some that weren't. So getting a standardized process is a good thing.
Madam Chair, it's Greg.
Yes, Greg.
So, yeah, we can do it when requested. So I think we just wanted to, there's a request, we can put a letter together. I think if we make sure we have a standardized letter and process so that it cuts down, it makes it more streamlined, and we're pulling the same data at the, for each time for the most part. We can do it if it's requested. It is some work, but we'll take care of it when asked.
Okay. Is there John, any?
No, I'm good. As long as I don't expect them to do them for everyone, but I would hope that if someone asks them to do it every year, that they at least do it. And Tanya basically created the form, and it's really good. She even put in there, told the consultants where to find the information they need, and I really do understand that getting that information is not as easy as just pulling up a number on the computer. I know that it takes time, and I know it's work, but that work is going to save people a lot of hassles.
Can you guys share that too with the committee folks, to that letter, and that way as our operators come and ask, we kind of know what's being requested? And
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Christy, have you approved that form yet, or are you planning to?
Madam Chair, yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'll get that next week.
Okay.
The form is really good.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to see it, and I think it'd be good for at least the committee folks for now to see it, and maybe everybody to see it so people know what's being asked and know what's available to them. So.
How about when somebody receives a facility, they get that information with the facility?
That's not really possible.
Yeah, I was going to say that doesn't really work, because some of the information is generated as time goes on. Yeah, square footage is there and stuff, but some of it's not. Oh. Some of the things that it's asked for are not. Okay, anything else with this, or any other topics that need to be brought up? Okay, well then, I guess we will move to adjourn if someone would like to do that. Keith
I'll
is
make
not-
the motion that we adjourn.
Okay.
I'll
There's a
second.
second. All right, all in
Yeah.
favor. Yep.
Aye.
Okay.